to say, but I can call up a stranger and talk my whole life away. Milwaukee margaritas, I didn't know that was a thing. Carry me home, marry me now, I promise you everything. Chanel in every city, simply talk dirty. Whoa, whoa, filthy mouth, filthy lips, but my teeth purple. Oh, I know, Bible scriptures on your left eye, verses you don't really live by. All she do is work, fuck, Uber Eats and get high. Never will I fly in coach, babe. Never will I fly in coach, babe. Spend your summers on a road, babe. I'm a vocal coach for your throat, babe. My ears are sensitive. Tell me that it's mine. All I hear is yes, all I hear is yes, yes it is. My ears are sensitive. Tell me that it's mine. All I hear is yes, all I hear is yes, yes it is. My ears are sensitive. So when I ask you, is it mine? All you ever say is yes it is. Every day come feel it walking across a tightrope. Bruises on the heart from jumping off roads. Gone for the weekend, yeah, that wasn't planned at first. Left on the first and it's already the 31st. Yeah. Young, wild and free, I can't blame her. Young, wild and pretty in Miami, I can't tame her. She a Virgo, so I can't explain her. Just tell me yes it is. All I hear is yes, all I hear is yes, yes it is. My ears are sensitive. Tell me that it's mine.
That Florida sun, the miracles for your skin. Florida water is dangerous, girl, can you swim? Take a dip in my sugar-coated sands, love. In my sugar-coated. Brown sugar, brown sugar, brown sugar. Brown sugar, brown sugar, brown sugar. Brown sugar, brown sugar, brown sugar. Brown sugar, brown sugar, brown sugar.
Here I come, 100 miles and running to your love, heaven above. Opened up and led me to the door. Been here before, but I never had it quite like this. It's the same, but it's so different. I can blame it on your kiss. They say the darker the berry, the sweeter the taste. Take a pit stop at your cherry. Ain't a drop that'll waste. They say results may vary when you're dealing with pain, but I'd rather let it burn than walk away from this flame.
That Florida sun, the miracles for your skin. Florida water is dangerous, girl, can you swim? Take a dip in my sugar-coated sands, love. In my sugar-coated.
You looking better than you ever did. If you told me the secret, I would spread that shit to every girl that I meet, so they would know how to be. That shit tastes fresher than a peppermint. If you want me to kiss it, I'm not hesitant. I know you're kissing me back, just like that. And I got every other thing that I need and want for you, and I've been wanting you. So what you want me to do tonight? Make this the moment of your life. And I got every other thing that I need and want for you, and I've been wanting you. So what you want me to do tonight? Make this the moment of your life.
Babe, boy, you look better than you ever did. I've shown you my secrets, can you handle it? I don't wanna hide. Always been a good girl, but I got a bad side. Can I show you, baby? I'ma guarantee you won't forget. I don't wanna taste, I want the whole damn thing. I don't wanna fight. How I feel with you, it feel right. What you want for the night?
And I got every other thing that I need and want for you.
You.
I've been wanting you, so what you want me to
What
do
you wanna do
tonight?
you try to play me, but I was so in love. Oh, that I just got a little bit too complicated. But if I had you back, all I wanna do is fuck, get drunk, take drugs. All I wanna do is fuck, get drunk, hop planes. All I say would be no loving you. It would be no loving you. If I did it all again, I would give like 10%. You deserve like half of that. I'ma need my money back. I'm riding through your hood, it piss me off again. Finna let new niggas come find me. Out there tripping like I don't got that designer pussy. All I'm tryna see is your credit card. Swipe it off of me. Give me what I want. I don't need to just CC me, just VV me, just that dick when I call. No more feelings involved. I done seen all I need to. Funny how you say you bought us. You don't ever pull up on me, put it on me. Get me right. You the one that want us. Can't give no, can't give no. Fuck, get drunk, take drugs. All I wanna do is fuck, get drunk, hop planes. All I say would be no loving you. It would be no loving you. Straight from my Hollywood scene. Licked his teeth like I was a cuisine. He was sweet to a T. Begging me for a treat. Oh, felt a suspicious mystique. Something's giving me the creeps. Now I'm tripping, I'm so smitten. Now I'm dripping, started kissing under the moon with you. So majestic, vicious, like a werewolf. When you're in it under the moon, I'm addicted, so horrific, and you kill it, and you
Hello. Are we live? Hello. Hey, welcome back or welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Sister to Sister. So welcome. You're joining us for real stories and sisterhood. So if you are listening and you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel, like, share, and comment on this video. Okay. If Also, if you have any comments, anything you want to add or ask us that you may want us to respond to on the live, go ahead and drop that in the comment section because we want to be able to do that as well on this live. Yes, that's it. Okay. All right. So I'm your host, Carlonda, and
Nikki.
so thank y'all for joining us on Let's Talk Sister to Sister for real stories and sisterhood. So we are in part 3 of our healing series. So we are talking about from pain to purpose tonight. And I wanted to open it up with a devotional that a cousin of ours sent me. I found this to be very insightful, and I thought it would very much relate to what we're talking about today. So I'm gonna go ahead and just read just a little bit, and then the link will be in the comment section. So if you want to go back and read the remainder, please feel free. But this was written by a young lady who spent a brief time in foster care herself. So I'm going to go ahead and read here. It's called My Sister, He Was Right There. And so it starts off with a scripture here from Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Then it goes on to say, one day the Lord asked me, what is your earliest memory of me demonstrating my love for you? I said, when I received you in my heart at 12 years old at the church revival. He then said, I need you to think further back. He took me all the way back to my birth. He said, I was with you when you were alone in an incubator for 4 months as a premature baby. I made sure the doctors and nurses took great care of you. My angel sang to you. I was there comforting you while you were in foster care for those 4 months after leaving the hospital. I made sure the staff was kind and caring. I saved your mother and helped her get stable so she could care for you. Then the Lord walks me through every moment of my childhood and my teen years until now. Today, he says, daughter, your entire life is a demonstration of my intense love, my special care, and my intentional grace. And then again, there's more to that, but I just wanted to read that first part. And so I thought it really related to finding purpose in the pain because I know for myself when I was going through the pain and the struggles of just growing up in the foster care system and dealing with that trauma and abuse, didn't, I couldn't comprehend that God was there the whole time. So, I mean, I know it's the case for me. What about you, Nikki?
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, Falanda. I mean, I was, of course, much younger, and but just as I grew up, it was kind of like I didn't understand like how the two would correlate with each other.
Hmm.
Yeah, and just feeling alone, like,
Yes, feeling very alone, right?
mhm,
And I know, like, a part of me felt very much alone once I found out I was going to be separated from my siblings permanently. I know at that moment I felt very alone. I just remember thinking I'm going to have to go through the rest of this by myself. And because I hadn't really had very many foster parents or people in my life who were showing me the love of Christ, I couldn't put together that, hey, God loves me and He's with me too.
mhm, mhm,
So
yeah.
I found it very difficult to see past the pain. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of, and I think I mentioned that before. It's kind of, or last time we were live, it's just like feeling that alone and just asking yourself, is there really this God person,
Mhm.
spirit, or whatever that everyone's talking about?
Mhm.
Because out of everything that we've, went through, it's just like,
Mhm.
who would allow that to happen if you're just this oh so mighty person?
Right, right.
So yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, definitely a lot of moments where you're questioning God or if he even exists or even if he cares, right?
Mhm,
Yeah, I
mhm.
definitely can relate to that. And
Yeah,
I know for me personally, I always felt like I wanted to end the pain. To me, it was just, I just wanted to stop, you know?
mhm.
The idea of pushing through it or something better being on the other side just didn't really click for me. It was to me,
Right,
it was like if it can just end, I would be happy. Right?
right, right. And also like too, like the emotional impact
Hmm.
of losing our sisterhood. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like even though we were so young,
Hmm.
but we grew up and that did have an effect on us, right? So and then just feeling alone and disconnected. And I think that you touched on that as well, just, alone, disconnected from your sisters, not having that sisterly bond, not knowing, what that is. Yes, you've probably had bonds with your foster siblings, but
Hmm.
I'm sure it was just something much different than,
Hmm.
what you can imagine what it will be with your bio siblings.
Yes, you're right, and I did miss out on that. And to kind of touch base on what you just said there, I did form bonds, and now looking back, I can see that that was another way that God was there and was in the midst because He was starting to build help me build those bonds with other foster siblings and foster parents that I still have today. So, and I feel like that may have been the case for you too, right? To a
Right,
certain degree.
right. Yeah, just, I mean, building healthy bonds
Mm-hmm.
in general,
Mm-hmm.
with other people who, because I did feel alone,
Mm-hmm.
and just trying to find that right support system
Mhm.
that I needed, so that I won't feel like we were alone. And we constantly, well, I, had those thoughts of like, wondering why we were separated versus healed,
Mhm.
like why was that? And I wish that, our times that we were able to visit one another, I do wish that we could have had that more.
Mhm.
Um, I think that that would have helped us at that younger age, just dealing with that healing aspect of it,
Mhm.
and um, creating that bond that we were
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
Like even though, like if we could have seen each other more often, I think
Mhm.
that that would have been healthier versus seeing each other every month or just for an hour or something.
Right.
So yeah, yeah,
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, it's even biblical. Like, we're not meant to be alone, right? So we
hmm
shouldn't have ever had to go through moments where we felt alone. And even though we had people in our lives, they weren't necessarily the best people, right? These weren't exactly positive, not always positive people. But I am thankful that, despite having the people who were not positive and not good influences, that I was still able to build bonds and form relationships with people who were positive and, you know, did have a good impact. And I'm thankful to still have those relationships today. And I feel like that's been a big part of the healing as
yeah,
well.
yes, yes. I mean, just meeting people along our journey, along the
Hmm.
has definitely had a huge impact on me. Whether that's, just meeting someone in the grocery store or meeting someone, while you're pumping gas or something, you never know what type of strong impact someone can have on you or what they can bring into you and what you can
Hmm.
give to them. We carry these gifts that a lot of times we're not aware of, and just by talking to people you never know how much you have helped them, or and things like that. So it's just like the little things that we do every day, and still to this day building those positive relationships, those healthy relationships with everyone.
And I feel, just to piggyback off what you're saying, I feel like, I mean, I'm still doing that even now with my
Mhm.
volunteer work with Unfaulted, which is a nonprofit that uh, I'm on the board with, and I do some mentoring with as well. So they also work with youth coming out of foster care
Oh
and
yeah.
helping them navigate and everything. And so I mentor a young lady, and I'm very proud of her at this moment because she's also finding a way to find purpose in out of her pain, right? So she wants to be a therapist and help other youth that are coming out of foster care. So I think that's amazing. I'm proud of her for that. And I feel like we're doing the same thing too, and to a certain degree, right? Taking our pain and making some purpose out of it versus being stuck in it, you know? Yeah.
Right. Yes, and I definitely touched on that on our last episode as well. It's just like our past doesn't have to define our future. The pain that we have been through, the pain that we have endured, does
Mhm.
not have to um, um, shun us from, or stop us from living our future. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Like, we don't have to let that become a big part of why we can't do better things, why we can't
Mhm.
be successful, why we can't have a
Mhm.
positive attitude just because
Mhm.
we've had some negative experiences in our life. You know what I'm saying? However,
Mhm.
we can use those to push us to do better things.
Mhm.
And like you said, like the reason why we have this platform is to use our stories to
Mhm.
share with everyone else, because we don't know who's going through the things that we've already went through. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And they may not feel comfortable enough to have their voice and vocalize what they've been through where we are. And so if you
Mhm.
just hear what we've been through, the things that we're doing with our life,
Mhm.
how far we've come, it just gives you motivation. And that just ties into just surrounding yourself by that positive, like we were saying earlier, by that positive support
Mhm.
system.
Yes, and yeah, just to touch on that again, I do like the fact that we're doing this. Like you said, there are many others, and they may really not feel, like they have a voice at the moment, or that they don't feel comfortable sharing or being open at the moment. But I hope that we can inspire them to, continue to press on. Because, like I said, there is that temptation to just want to end the pain, right? Not push through it. I can remember when I just early on, because I started dealing with suicidal thoughts and attempts at a really young age. I think I was in sixth grade. And this went on for the remainder of the time that I was in care. And I remember I was, at a placement with some other young ladies, and we all said the same thing. They were all in a similar situation as me. I think they were all foster care as well. And we just remember, I think someone asked us, like, why do you want to, commit suicide? Don't you understand that that's final? And I think because we were so young, like, you don't understand that that's final, right? You don't understand it. You just want the pain to end. And that's what we would say. We would say, hey, we just want the pain to end. We just want it to stop. And so, and if you haven't gotten to a place where you can find purpose from the pain, and you still feel stuck in it, you may feel like you're still in this cycle where you're just going round and round. I want the pain to end. The pain won't stop. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's like, you know, we're living we're living we yeah, we're living through the abuse, or we live through the abuse,
Mhm.
experiencing the physical abuse, the emotional abuse. And just like I said too before, it's like we were in survival mode,
Right.
like straight up, like we were in survival mode. And it's just it's weird when you think about it now just as adults.
Right. Right.
And it's like, oh
Mhm.
wow. So for us, it was just like, we're just doing what we got to do, and we didn't think
Mhm.
of it. But not knowing what we know now, it's like I was just living in survival mode.
Mhm.
That wasn't normal. You know what I'm saying? So and just like using our stories and our story of abuse to shape us who we are today.
Mhm.
You know, so but yeah, I know, like, speaking just from um the emotional abuse, and I know we talked about this too before. It's like I never had those suicidal thoughts. However, I just didn't want to live where I was living anymore. I just remember thinking like, oh my gosh, my life would be so much better if I was living with such and such, or
Mhm.
this friend from school, or with a
Mhm.
neighbor or something, because their life
Mhm.
is, the like they have the best life. So, and
Mhm.
just I mean, now as we think about it, it's like, what does
Mhm.
emotional abuse steal from a child?
Mm.
Like, we were so, like, children are so young, so
Mhm.
innocent, you know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? And emotional abuse and the trauma can leave a long-lasting effect on how a child sees himself in the world. And I
Mhm.
think that's me and you.
Right. Right.
Like,
I heard I
that's
heard
me
this.
and you.
Yeah, I heard this phrase, or I saw it somewhere. I read it somewhere, but it was like a child. It's like a child having a bucket, and it's your job to fill that up with positive, reinforcement, so that others can't easily poke holes in it, right? If
Mhm.
and I feel like we didn't get that. We like our bucket was empty.
Yeah.
you know? So like, and so when you enter into adulthood, you're starting with the empty bucket. So now we're having to fill that up ourselves.
Right.
And in my own journey, I learned that it was impossible to fill that up, on my own. Yes, I had positive people in my life who were pouring into me, but at the end of the day, and I went through this journey starting a few years ago, like I really needed to understand who God was for myself, and really understand what it meant to walk in like my identity in Christ. I really need to learn how to see God the way He saw. I need to be able to see myself the way He saw me, and that was a journey in its own, because I was really fighting with the voices from before. I was really fighting with all the negative, all the pain that had been spoken over me, right? You know, and I don't think people who are in that situation that are abusing children, whether it be, you know, physically, sexually, or emotionally, I don't think they realize like the damage that they're doing. Yeah.
Right.
It's a
Right.
lot. Yeah. So,
Yeah. Um, and like, and even just like when we talk about what's been taken from what's been taken from the child, it's like a sense of safety, and you touched on that too. It's
mhm,
like a child is supposed to feel protected and loved.
mhm, mhm,
Like people are supposed to be pouring in to us. You know what I mean? And emotional abuse can make you feel like make you feel unpredictable and
yeah.
safe. You
Mhm,
know, and then also the self worth. It's like,
mhm,
you know, a child repeat like if a child repeatedly hears you say, you know, beat them down like you're never going to be anything, you're never going to
mhm,
go anywhere, no one's going to want you. The
mhm,
things that we heard as children, then
mhm.
when we grow up, that's what we're going to believe
Right, right.
because that's what we've been told our entire childhood leading
Mhm,
up into adulthood, you know,
mhm,
and that damages our confidence. Like children
mhm,
who are constantly criticized may be afraid to make mistakes or try new things. I know for myself, like I'm
mhm.
once I get comfortable, like I'm kind of scared to, you know, try
Branch
anything
out.
new. Like
Yeah.
I'm scared to
Yeah.
branch out. Like it takes a lot of self-talk, a lot of going back and forth. I'm very indecisive. Like
Mhm,
once I get into that comfortable place, I don't no, I don't want to change it up. I don't want to change it up. But again, I wasn't exposed to that as a child. Like, you know, so it damaged my confidence. And then also like my voice. Like I felt like no one would listen to me because when I was going through my abuse, no one
mhm,
even cared to check on me.
mhm,
Are you okay?
mhm,
Need anything?
mhm.
Like actually make me feel like I was in a safe place to tell. You know, I think
Right.
because the person who I was living with would just, you know, over talk everything and just make the situation look all sweet and cute. You know, you're living in this nice neighborhood, this nice house, and blah, blah,
Mhm,
blah, this and that, then you must be good. And it's like, no,
mhm,
no, but no one took the time to be like, hey, you know, really sit me down and like, hey, like I feel like there's something going on. Let me know. I want like I didn't feel that I connected with anyone at that level to be vulnerable enough to
mhm,
share that, you know? And so I felt like my voice is kind of like the Disney movie Little Mermaid when Ariel
mhm,
gets her voice taken away and like she
mhm.
can't speak. Like that's literally how I feel sometimes. Even now, like I
Yeah.
have night terriers that I don't have a voice.
Mhm,
I can have a dream where I'm in a situation and I'm screaming for help. Like I'm screaming, someone help me, but nothing is coming out. And then
mhm,
I wake myself out of my sleep screaming and crying. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I honestly think that that stemmed from my childhood and
mhm,
not being able to have a voice, you
mhm.
know? And so yeah, I mean, just a lot of stuff um, can be taken from a child with the emotional abuse. There's trust,
Oh, yeah,
like
absolutely.
you know, if
Yeah.
you have a hard,
Definitely struggle with trust issues
hmm
as an adult for sure. You know,
yes,
trust issues, attachment issues, rejection issues. I
yeah,
struggled with rejection tremendously, you know, because I was always rejected as a kid, you know.
right.
And, you know, so I, you know, it was difficult. It was very hard to hear a because to me it wasn't just like a no, not right now, or I can't, or just something explainable. It was like a shot against me because I was used to people taking shots literally against me, you know,
Mm-hmm.
as a kid. And I was going to ask you because I know we both grew up hearing things like, you know, you're stupid, you're dumb, you'll never amount to anything, you'll just end up like, you know, your mom and things like that. Was that enough? But then you would go, obviously, we both went on and proved all those people wrong who said those things, but was that enough for you? Or did you still find yourself, even though you achieved graduating high school, graduating college, getting your master's degree, having a career, a family, all the rest, do you feel like that was still enough, or were you still battling and fighting with some of those negative thoughts or that low self worth and things like that?
Oh,
And all
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, I still struggle with that. Like, I still struggle with
Mm-hmm.
not being enough, even though I have all the accomplishments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm, like you said, like I've tackled all those things in life. I'm successful in my career and things like that. But yeah, I do still feel like, nope, there's still something else I gotta do
Mm-hmm.
to make other people like me more, or to make
Mm-hmm.
people proud, or things of that. Like, I feel like there's always something more that I should be doing. Even but then it's just like, okay, well, how much more? Because I'm tired as it is. So it's like,
Right, right.
what else can I do? You know what
Mhm.
I mean? So yeah, definitely. What about you?
Yes, I'd struggled with that for a long time and then it took me a while to figure out that I was putting my self worth in my accomplishments. As long as I was, hey, I got this degree, I got that degree, I got this now, okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as something didn't go my way, like, oh, I didn't get, this opportunity or that opportunity, that was like a shot against my soul. So, and then that's when I feel like God at that moment was showing me that, hey, you're wrapping your self-worth in your accomplishments. And I'm sure that stems from the way we grew up with that abuse, especially the emotional and psychological abuse. And then that's when I had to start my journey of really understanding what it means to walk in my identity in Christ, like understanding, like, no, I am still loved and redeemed and et cetera and et cetera. Despite, hey, if I don't have this opportunity, or despite, if I don't get this opportunity or go this direction, so forth and so forth. So that was a journey that I started a few years ago, and I'm still walking in that journey. And I feel like that's a part of my healing as well.
Yeah, and I think also, like, for me, what makes it hard with my self-worth is social media or TV,
Mhm,
because you see everyone else like doing all these great things,
mhm,
you know what I'm saying? And then it's just like, oh, I didn't do that,
mhm,
or I need to be doing that. I need to go get my PhD. I need to, you know, do my own thing or whatever.
mhm, mhm,
So that beats me down a lot, just because I
mhm,
do a lot of comparing
mhm.
to others, but
Yeah.
then I take a step back and I'm like, okay, well, they probably didn't endure half of the stuff that I did.
Mhm.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then I just like try to calm myself down with positive talk. It's just like, look how far you've came. Like,
Mhm,
you did this all by yourself. Like,
mhm,
yes, you had your family there, to help some or whatever. But for the most part, like Nikki, you did the hard work. Like, you were up late nights writing the paper.
mhm,
You were up
mhm,
early mornings,
mhm,
making the bottles, driving to school. Like, you were doing that stuff. So when I think about it, in that sense, I'm just like, okay,
mhm.
a little pressure is off me for just a moment until until I see someone else or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely.
I feel like there's a lot of that going on with
Yeah.
social media.
Mhm.
Um, but I've learned that, a lot of the times it's not what it seems. I've learned that, like sometimes, because people can put the camera this angle and, they only post what looks good.
Well,
They're
yeah,
they're not going to post all the ugly stuff.
yeah, yeah.
So, I don't know. That doesn't really bother me because I've always kind of from the social media side, but I just walking through life, even as a kid, always kind of comparing. I used to always say, I just wish I was normal. You
Mm,
know, I just
mm,
wish I was normal because I never felt normal.
yeah,
I felt like I was always walking around with this stigma of being
yeah,
a foster kid, and with that comes a kid that's unwanted, unloved, unlovable and all the rest. And I felt like I was always walking around with that.
Hmm.
And so I just, I always wanted to be normal. So I would look at the other kids at school and, be like, oh, I wish, little things. Oh, I wish I could bring my lunch to school. I wish I could,
Yes,
just little
just
things
little
that
stuff.
you
Yeah,
saw that they got to experience, but I didn't get to experience.
right,
I even tell my kids, like, 'cause if my youngest, who's like incredibly spoiled, and she complains, and I'm like, the fact that you have a stable home and two parents that love you, you're doing way better than I was when I was your age, young lady. I wish I had a mom that cared enough to do my hair.
right.
I mean, just little things that
Little stuff.
she takes. I didn't even have
Right.
a bed to sleep in sometimes.
Mhm.
Depending on what home I was in, food to eat depending on what home I was
Mhm.
in. You just
Yeah,
and so I found myself comparing myself just for the small things
just
that, kids that, wouldn't even think twice about. Of course, my mom's going to feed me. Of course, my mom's going to
yeah.
be here. Of course, I'm going to have a home to go to, And that wasn't my situation. So I found myself, kind of comparing myself in that way growing up.
Right. No, I'm the same way. It's like, um, with my kids, it's like I remember not having the choice of what you want for dinner. Like I find myself asking, like, "Hey, what do y'all want for dinner?" And for me, it was like you ate whatever was put in front of you, or you go to bed hungry.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So just giving our children options
Mm-hmm.
is something way different for me. And I tell my kids all the time as well, it's like y'all have no idea like how good y'all have it. Like
Yes. Same
able to
here.
come in and switch on the light and it actually comes on, to have
Mm-hmm.
hot water, to actually be able to go in the kitchen and get snacks. Like I had no snacks. My mom didn't like, we didn't have no juices, sodas,
Mm-hmm.
all of that little fruit snacks and stuff like that is like a norm to our kids every time
Right.
we go to the store. Yeah, no. That was like maybe once a year for me. So, I remember I had a childhood friend that because we didn't have snacks at home, we
Mm-hmm.
would go over and just go crazy in their pantry. They had a huge pantry. You
Mm-hmm.
had goldfish here, wheat thins here, gummy fruits here,
Mm-hmm.
all this, all the fun things or whatever. And we would just rage to a point where her mom was like, "Yeah, we're gonna have to come up like with a ticket or token thing because y'all are just eating them." And seriously, like every time we came, like we could use a certain amount of tickets to get a snack. And once those tickets were over, then there were no more snacks. But I,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how to limit myself because I wasn't used to it.
Mm-hmm.
And even like when it comes to taking your lunch, like you're right. Like I had to just eat whatever was on the free lunch uh menu or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. There was no seconds and stuff. Like now I'm constantly putting money on my kids' account. I'm like, dang. Or, like so that
Mm-hmm.
they can buy lunch and, lunch from the real food line, like the chicken strips and the nachos and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. And then also so they can get like a dessert, cookie and
Mm-hmm.
cakes and all that stuff or whatever. So never had that experience. But again, I think that that's also like how you said, like we just wanted to be normal. We wanted to feel
Mm-hmm.
normal. You know what I'm saying? And like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times when I would go to school, that would be the only time that I would eat.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
it's yeah, and just going back to like the self-worth and just like struggling with that, like believing that we weren't enough, having a low self-esteem, constantly trying to prove ourselves, comparing to others and carrying our childhood trauma over into adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like for years, I believe that I had to earn love, earn acceptance, and
Mm-hmm.
because I've always been told like, and I've always felt like I wasn't enough. So I felt like
Mm-hmm.
I had to work extra, extra hard to be
Mm-hmm.
likable,
Mm-hmm.
to feel more pretty, or you know
Yeah.
whatever have you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like just kind of going back to what you're saying about like how our kids have it, so much different now and how we worked and then I feel like it's just the little things, you know. It's not even anything major, you know. It's like my kids, they'll ask me, you know, what's for dinner, and I'm like, kids do that. I never did that growing up
Yes,
ever, because
yes,
it's like you were lucky if you ate, you know, you
exactly.
were
That's
lucky
what
if
I'm
there
saying.
was,
Yes.
you know, it's like kids do that, and then whatever was there, you know, if you know whatever you could find, you know, that's what you ate, or you know whatever you was served, that's what you ate, just depending on, you know, for me what placement I was at. But I just was like, kids do that, like they ask what's for dinner, like that's, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think that's also like kind of like what you were saying about your kids and then mine too. I think that's an testament to us to, in a certain degree, finding some purpose again out of that pain. Purpose is being parents, being good parents, right? Not repeating the same, you know,
Right,
cycles and things that
right.
we grew up experiencing, and really wanting to, genuinely wanting to provide and have, you know, better for our kids. And I think every parent wants that to a certain degree, but I feel like for us, it strikes a different chord. Like it just has
Mm-hmm.
a different meaning, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think about that. I think about that a lot because I don't want my children to experience remotely the things that I
Hmm.
did growing up. And
Okay.
and you know,
Yeah.
I didn't want any of that. So I yeah, these kids they got it good. They got it good.
Well, yes, we know our kids have it good, and let's go ahead and we'll get back into more about how basically God is just, you know, taking what we went, what was bad, and using it for good. And we talked a little about our, you know, that showing up in our parenthood. But let's take a quick break, and we'll jump back more into the conversation here shortly.
All right, see y'all later.
Ain't had a minute to breathe. 0 to 100 disclaimers, you ignore them. Don't act like you don't know why you're sick. It's all this motion, girl. Let's be honest, this feeling you ignoring is me. The world still goes round and round and round and round and round. The world still goes round and round and round and round and round. The world still goes round and round and round and round and round. The world still goes when we go.
Websites your competitors don't want you to know, part 2. All you do is go to this website, and it lets you find out exactly how much your competitors are making by showing.
Say you trust the process, but trusting me is the hardest. My record far from flawless. Fuck it, see, I don't trust myself. Paranoia, familiar with a feeling is cold. Even though I'm loyal and down to earth since I saw you, it's hard for me to tell you, don't worry when your mind's made up and your tone switch up when you don't pick up and the loving stops. The world still goes round and round and round and round and round. The world still goes round and round and round and round and round. The world still goes round and round and round and round and round. The world still goes when we go.
I'm dreaming, I'm reaching and pulling you closer. You sit down. I'm dreaming of a place where we can go when time isn't stolen and there's nobody around. Let's keep it dreaming. For the both of us. Every day I lay my life down. I need you by my side. Every day I count my blessings. You've been on my mind. Oh, oh, oh. That's just the way it is. And we can settle down.
thinking about all of the things make it complicated. I brought you penny flowers cause you excited, babe. I need more doses of your love, I'm intoxicated. I love the way it feels. Dreaming of traveling places we never seen. Seeing you carry my child with a diamond ring. Whole weekend settle down, start a family. That's just the way it is. I custom me Saint Laurent. I get you Hermes to car, cause it's whatever for you. Tell me whatever you want, I do whatever for you. Get anything what you want, cause it's whatever for you. Vintage Chanel for the clutch, put horse and boo on the right. Know what I do, turn her up. She want the new Bentley truck. You get your bang for your buck, I get whatever for you. Ain't no one else, it's just us, and it's whatever for you.
That's just the way it is. No, we can settle down, settle down. No more drama, no reason to complicate it. Settle down, that's just the way it is. No, we can settle down, settle down. No more drama, no reason to complicate it. Settle down.
If you bad, bad, we could just show me. If you bad, bad, then we good. Feel your hands on me, yeah. Like that and dressing me down. What it is gon' be, yeah, it's gon' be. Ooh, sweet nothings from your lips, just touch me there. Don't have to slow it down, boy, I ain't scared. If you bad, bad, we could just show me. If you bad, bad, then we good. If you bad, bad, baby, I want it. Just be bad, bad, baby, we good. Oh, I love it, oh, I need it. Read my mind, what I'm thinking. Take your time, ain't no speed. Look in my eyes while you eat it. Feel your hands on me, like that and dressing me down. What it is, it's gon' be. Sweet nothings from your lips, just touch me there. Don't have to slow it down, boy, I ain't scared. If you could hear the thoughts inside my head, it ain't even fair. And take that off soon as I land. There ain't nothing you need to wear. I'm in a race with time to get where I belong. Does it feel so right after all these nights alone?
All right, everybody. All right, everybody. We're back. Thank you for tuning in here on Let's Talk Sister to Sister. I think we left off with again just kind of talking about how our upbringing has impacted our parenting,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
look at that as a way as God using, the bad for good, because, and then I even had, I don't know if anyone's ever asked you this, but someone asked me this, it was a while back. They asked me, well, how do you never had an example of a good parent or good parent. So how can you be such a good parent? And I responded, I said, well, I just look at what all the things that my biological parents did, and I just said, well, if I don't do any of that,
Yeah.
I should be okay.
Yep.
So just do the opposite of
Yep.
what they did. So, what
Yeah.
about you? Has anyone ever kind
No,
of?
absolutely spot on. I said the same thing. It's like I know what not to do. Like I
Mm-hmm.
remember how, you know, being raised by my family member, I remember like how she had me feel and how I would never want my children to feel remotely anything like that, like
Mm-hmm.
emotionally, physically, like, I just don't get me wrong, like I discipline my children, but
Mm-hmm.
probably not to someone else's satisfaction, but that is because of I remember just being she was just so hard on me and how that left me feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just think that there's different ways that you can discipline a
Mm-hmm.
child without,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the way that we were disciplined,
Mm-hmm.
or the way that I was disciplined. So I definitely like the same thing. Like I know what not to do. I'm still learning. Like there's not a handbook, there's not a blueprint of it, but I
Right.
just
Right.
know what I went through as a
Mm-hmm.
child, and having an adult caring for me. And so she just taught me what not to do. So
Absolutely.
yeah, we're just taking it
Same.
one day at a time.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I'm with you, provide discipline for your kids, but you don't have to abuse them, and that was a fear that I had becoming a parent. I was like, I didn't want to, I didn't want that to somehow, come upon me. Like, I don't want to be this way, So I was
mhm.
always very cautious. I, absolutely didn't want my kids to go into the system. So those
Right.
were things that just kind of drove me and motivated me. What about you?
Right, same. I never wanted my children to be scared of me.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it to be a open, safe place. You guys have to live here. We have to live together
Mm-hmm.
for as long as, and I don't want you guys to feel scared or feel timid, like being here. Like you can't do something because you're afraid of my reaction or something like that. So I
Mm-hmm.
try to make, our space just as calm and, less stress as I can. And also too, like that's actually what led me into my profession, which is social work. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just because wanting to become the person that I once needed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Wanting to be that person that you can trust, and tell and like in turn, I turn my lived experiences into my professional purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And so my pain, excuse me, my pain gave me empathy, but my education gave me the tools.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And together, that's been my purpose.
Right.
That's
Right.
been my purpose. I've used my pain to get to my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I was real young when I decided I wanted to be a social worker just because of the stuff that I had went through. And I wish I would have had a Nikki social worker there with me. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, and just finding my voice and doing that. Breaking the generational cycle like we talked about, you
Yes.
know, breaking that for our children. Mhm. Mhm.
And I have to say the same too. So I know you mentioned that I know you're currently in social work, but I have a background in social work as well. I know at one point we were both doing that at the same time.
Right?
And to a certain degree, I still kind of dabble in it because I still do some volunteer work and things with a nonprofit and helping kids in the foster or coming out of foster care. But when I was excited to do that because I felt like, hey, there's purpose there. You know, I can relate to the youth I'll be working with. I worked for a brief period of time. I worked with youth that were coming out of foster care and helping them transition because that's tough. That
Yeah.
transition from foster homes to being on your own. So I got to help some youth do that, and then I also got a chance to work with youth who were in international foster care.
Mm.
And for our listeners, international foster care is completely different than domestic foster care, and perhaps we'll get into more of that on another episode. I felt privileged to be able to have that purpose to serve these youth that were in a similar situation that I was and helping them navigate and be successful once they left our program. And now I find myself in the teaching career path. I transitioned from social work to education. And so I feel like when I made that transition, my thought process, I was thinking of how school was a safe place for me. And when I started off doing college and career readiness. So I knew, and I still know, that the numbers of youth that come out of foster care that take advantage of their free college benefit is very low. And so I'm thinking, well, what a great opportunity to try to target some of those youth that are going through the school system and try to help them take advantage of that benefit. And then just now as a teacher, still, why not take advantage of have that purpose of being that safe place? You know, I remember the teachers I had, you
Mm-hmm.
know, who were good to me and nice to me and just showing me attention and affection and care that I wasn't getting, you know, in a lot of my foster homes at the time. And you never know. I may come across a kid that's a foster kid as well, and they may be in a bad situation, and I can help be that safe space. So I feel like I find purpose in what I do career wise as well.
Yeah. I feel like you know, every day we can look at, like, I know for me, it's like, as long, if I can just help bring a smile to one person
Hmm.
a day, like, my job is done. I'm not the one like, oh my gosh, I gotta make everybody happy. Like, you know, like I'm
Hmm.
realistic when it comes to our workload. And so that's why I just like, you know what, if I could just make one family um ease their mind, or, you know, have them less stress, or, you know, bring a smile to a child's face. And that can just be something as, I don't know, giving them an apple or something, whatever it is, like just
Hmm.
something little. It doesn't have to be something, you know, huge or whatever. But I think that that's awesome that both of us,
Hmm.
you know, we use our profession and our past. You like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
together.
Yeah.
Um, like that's great. That's great. And so, and it's like really we're in a sense like advocating
Hmm.
for individuals, you
Hmm.
know. And again, which is why again we decided to do this podcast. It's just a safe place, and just to let people know, like, yes, like I said before, like, yes, we're comfortable with sharing our story, but also just to give our listeners and our viewers a place to ask questions, or
Right.
like, you know, even if they're dealing with something, you know, hey, like, how did
Hmm.
you get through this? Like, you know, like us being an open book and being a safe
Hmm.
place for
Hmm.
them is something that people need,
Right.
you know. And so I'm glad that we're able to provide that for them, and just using our voice, and
Hmm.
standing with survivors, and encouraging those who needs help, and showing them that healing is possible.
Right.
Like,
Right.
showing them, like, just because this happened doesn't mean you have to stay there. Like, healing is
Exactly.
possible.
Yes.
So it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight,
Hmm. Absolutely.
but it's possible, you know. And just leaving, I think, is the best that we can do.
Yes, and everybody needs community, and so that's where I see this going. As kind of building a community
Right.
here for these types of conversations, for real stories, for sisterhood, for healing, all of that. And you're right. Healing can happen. I suggest, the earlier the better. The younger you are, the better.
Right.
With the nonprofit that I help out with, we're doing a Bible study. So every week we meet for a Bible study, and it's phenomenal. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, I wish they had this when I was coming out of foster care. How much sooner could I have started my healing if I had something like
Hmm.
this, where you're actually being given tools and have someone just walking through and helping you identify, yes, you're feeling like this, you're struggling with this, but you know what? You don't have to stay here. We can move you from here to here. Here are the steps, and I'm just so proud of the young ladies. These are young ladies. They're anywhere between 18 to, 22. So
Wow.
I'm just so proud of them for coming, for showing up every week. And it's like, this is it. This is what you need to do. Like, start young. You're doing the right thing. You're starting young, and that's perfect. Because trust me, you do not want to be dealing with this 10 years from now, 15 years from now. When you add on children and a spouse and a career, it just compiles, because you're still dealing with this, but you also have, other phases of life going on as well. So the sooner you can tackle it and start healing, the better. That would be
Absolutely.
my suggestion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And even like when it comes to you and I, like something that I've told myself is like success
Mm-hmm.
doesn't ease the pain or erase the pain, but it gives the pain a purpose,
Mm. Yes. That's what I
right?
do.
Like we don't, we'll never forget
Mm-hmm.
what
Mm-mm.
what we went through, the
Mm-mm.
abuse that we endured. Like we'll never forget that, right?
Mm-mm.
But also we'll never forget how we used that to just become better, to become
Mm-mm.
a better mom to our children. You
Mm-mm.
know what I'm saying? To become a better listener, become a better sister. You know what I'm saying? Like we had to in our adulthood form a sister bond. Whereas,
Mm-hmm.
like you said earlier, like normal kids,
Mm-hmm.
that forms when the sibling comes home from the hospital, right?
Right.
It's like
Mm-hmm.
they're forming that thin, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And you and I, mothers, like we see that with our kids,
Mm-hmm.
them being older siblings, and so, but for us, it's like, we had to start that, we started that really
Mm-hmm.
when we started having kids, like our
Mm-hmm.
our sister bond like really got tight when we started having kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought that was
Yeah.
just like, when you think about it, it's just like
Mhm. Yeah.
wow,
And
you
can
know,
you imagine as a parent, now we're parents, we have kids and they're siblings, right? But can you imagine like somebody coming to them and saying, okay, we're going to split y'all up. You're going to go here, here, and here.
yeah,
And then you're never going to see each other again. But y'all can connect again when you're 18.
right.
I mean, just how messed up does that sound? You know?
I know.
And so like that's mind blowing, but that's what happened to us.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like where you it's not funny, it's not.
Hmm.
But it's like the system, they're like, oh, we're just thinking about the child. But what's best for the
Yeah.
child?
What's in the best interest of
What,
the
what's in
child?
the best
Yeah.
interest for the child?
Hmm.
So you think splitting us up, splitting the siblings up is the best interest for them when they've been together forever, how long or whatever.
Hmm.
You think
Yeah.
just coming in one day and just be like, all right, you're going here, you're going here, you're going here, deal with it.
Yeah. And that's how it was.
That is just so I would never understand that.
Right. And I couldn't
I would
imagine
never
like
understand
my kids going through that, That's just
that.
it's insane. Like it doesn't even make logical sense. You
Yeah,
know.
it really doesn't. It really doesn't. And something just to, let our listeners know and our viewers know, like, you do have a voice and your
Hmm.
voice matters. And that forgiveness and boundaries can coexist. Like, that's something that I've had to learn. Is to forgive, but then also set myself boundaries. I can do the forgiveness part, but
Hmm.
I still need some work on the boundaries,
Hmm.
because I want to be likable. Like I feel like, again, like we were talking about earlier, it's just
Hmm.
knowing my self-worth and feeling that I am enough. And I feel like, oh, I have to please everybody to be enough.
Mm,
And it's like, well, you can have boundaries too. So that's something that I'm working through still as well.
hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a work in
It is.
progress
It
for
is.
sure. So,
Yeah, it really is.
and I feel like just that aspect, like what we were talking about with, siblings being split up, because, that's the reality in the system.
Hmm.
So we're also showing, our listeners and other, youth that are in the system now or may have just recently got out that it is possible to, reconnect with your siblings and have, sisterhood or brotherhood or whatever the case may be and work on building that bond, just because, people dictated whether or not y'all could see each other at one point in your life, it doesn't have to stay that way.
Right.
You can make it different for yourself now. And I
Yes.
feel like that's the case with all aspects from coming out of care or trauma or abuse, yes,
Hmm.
you didn't have control at that time, but you can be more in control now. And speaking of that was something I struggled with. I don't know if this is a thing for you, but being in those situations, dealing with abuse and trauma and instability, always moving around, I always felt like I had no control. So I struggled with control issues. Like it's like, I had no control then, but now I want all the control now. Did you ever feel like you struggled with that as well?
Um, yes. Um, and just not having a choice.
Mm,
Just not having a choice.
mm,
Um, and now I think I'm big on that. I'm big on giving choices. Um, especially to my kids, right?
mm,
Like, not saying that they get to make every choice, but I ask them, like, hey, what would you like to do? Even though, like, yes, I have the final say so, right?
mm,
But just like giving them, making them feel like how we were,
mm,
right?
mm,
Um, so and then just yes, like I do like, you know, being in being in control now. Like I feel like I have control of stuff. Like I am in
mm,
control of me, and that feels great.
mm,
I don't have anyone telling me what I can and what I can't do.
mm. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that was a struggle for me too. It was really hard for me and learning how to let going kind of back to what we were talking about earlier, like let go of control and understand that God is in control and let Him to, and trust Him. Man, that was the hardest journey. I'm still, walking through that journey, but kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, it's like, well, I didn't really have people showing me the love of God, consistently throughout my life. And so I'm not really grasping, this relationship with God and this good God that you all speak of. I'm not really grasping that. So it's hard for me to let go of control and
Mhm.
and believe that He cares enough and I can give control to Him. So that, I mean,
Yeah.
that's also been a part of my journey as well.
Yeah, yeah, and I agree with you there. Like I've heard before, you know, people say, "Nikki, you just feel like you gotta have control over everything." And I think, like you said, like I think a part of that is just because I had no control before now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, well, yeah, I have control of this situation, so I want to take control. But some, like you said, like I just have to learn how to let go and and give it to him and just let him deal with it and just be patient too. Like that's my
Yes.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just being patient because I be wanting stuff to happen like now. So that's something that I have to learn. It's just like it's not on my time. It's
Yes.
it's not, but it's gonna happen, but it's not. But I'm just like, well, I said it, so it needs to happen now.
It's oh my gosh, you can tell we're much alike because I'm definitely the same way. I've been having to walk a patience journey for some time, and I feel like having kids also helps you with your patience too, you
Oh,
know?
absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm like I'm
Absolutely.
yeah, we're definitely alike in that sense. It's like,
Yes.
I want it
Yes.
now. Now.
Right. Because I will, like, if I ask you once and you don't do it, and by the time I think about it again, okay, then I'm just gonna do it. And then you go and try to do it. It's already done. I
Mhm.
asked you 15 minutes ago, you didn't do it. I already did it.
Yeah.
I'm a now. I'm a now. Let's get it done. I got time to wait.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but like I said, um, healing takes time,
Mhm.
and just a reminder that everything that we go through has its purpose, and we may not see it when we're going through it. We may feel like
Absolutely.
there's no purpose,
Mhm.
but at the end of the day, it is. It is. And we're capable of creating a future that reflects our
Mhm.
strength
Mhm.
and not our circumstances.
Mhm.
So, and I think that you and I are a perfect example of that.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, what we're doing here is a prime example. Um, so, our story is similar in a lot of places, beginning with the separation, the trauma that we went through, believing that we wasn't enough. And today, we continue to heal, with education, advocacy, and purpose. We can't change what happened to us. Like,
No.
we can't go back and we can't, erase it and redo it, but we can choose what happens because of us,
Right.
right? And that's what purpose is.
Mhm.
So we went through a lot of pain,
Mhm.
and here now with our listeners and bringing people into our story, like, that's our purpose.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm loving the fact that we're walking in our purpose.
Hmm.
And I want to wrap it up with the fact that God can use your pain for good. And I feel like that's what he's doing now. I think that's what he's doing in our career paths with social work and education. And it's biblical, you know. I mean, Genesis 50:20. One of my favorite stories in the Bible, the story of Joseph, right? I mean, look at what he went through, being sold into slavery, being accused of violating his master's wife, being thrown into prison. And so he went through all of those hardships, and then God rose him up to be second in command in Egypt, you know, and then he wrapped it up by saying, hey, what you meant for evil, God meant it for good. And I feel like that's our story too. What,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Yep,
what, yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And so we just want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. And if this episode resonated with you, just remember that your story does matter. And even like in your life's hardest moments, there's still that possibility of growth, healing, and purpose, right?
Absolutely.
And your voice has value. Like that, like we're using this platform, to share our story using our voice. And your experience can also become a source of hope, not for you, but for someone else. And that's another reason why we decided to do this. Like, us sharing our story is
Mhm.
healing for us, but we're also sharing our story so that it can bring you hope as well. But for others that, need to know, you're not alone. So just keep believing, keep healing, keep choosing yourself, and keep walking towards your purpose.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better, sister. Well, please follow us on all social media platforms. We're on Facebook. I'm about to say Twitter. We're on Facebook, TikTok, Rumble, Instagram. Did I miss anything?
YouTube.
Oh, YouTube, please, yes. And if you're watching and you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to like this video and share this video if you know somebody who needs to hear this message. And don't forget to comment.
All right, guys. Thanks again for joining. We'll see y'all next time.
See y'all next time. Bye.
And my time with you is everything. All you do is make me proud. saved you from all of these lows in my life. But just look how far you go. These little wings will do more than just carry you home. No, surely this is life. You are worth it. I promise to make sure you'll never fall far from your cracks. I hope that you know you are never too far from your purpose. I hope you receive it wherever you are. I'm so thankful I've got you. You got me, I'm still right here with the real stuff. You got me, I'm still right. Even in the wickedest times, feel what you wanna feel right now. 'Cause I know how hard it feels. You got me, I'm still right here. You got me, I'm still right here with the real stuff. You got me, I'm still right. Even in the wickedest times, yeah. Feel what you wanna feel right now. 'Cause I know how hard it feels, yeah. You got me, I'm still right here.
Flowers die and diamonds gone. You shouldn't have to try it long. Tell me if you're mine or no. We like Wheezy and Styrofoam. She got a roll. Baby pushing G-class, getting big figures. She can buy whatever, but a real nigga. Vibes don't lie like the moon. Real nigga give a fuck what he come out to. Hey, it's a difference over here. Arabian wood, smell me. She only drink water, she keep that pussy healthy. It's the kind of bad thing that feel good, love it. Good thing that feel bad when you get too much of it. Way to live for a little babe, I need more of it. Way too high for a little babe, I'm sure of it. Oh, yeah. Vibes don't lie. I say vibes don't lie. Vibes don't lie. Vibes don't lie. We don't gotta fuss, know what time it is. We don't trip about what the next time is. We ain't gotta fuss, baby, just relax. It is what it is, let it just be that. Let it just be that. Let it just be that.
My love is like an ocean, endless and open. But what I found is mostly I can't swim good. They traveled on emotions, made a lot of bad starts, broke hearts. Even when I'm in good, maybe I'll wake up and she'll be the one. Maybe one day or someday I won't wanna run. Maybe the sun won't come down on the truth. Maybe I'll be bad to you. I may never be the man that you deserve. We can try to make it
trying to avoid things, but it's no one this is mothers. Avoid things. I ain't trying to resolve things, involve you, but you don't want to be sorry. Page me on a beeper, babe. I need a request, say I need a reason. No wait while you're relaxing. Say me awake today. I'm on a wait today. I want my waist and I craze and my mind's away. And it's a migraine to play your mind games. You're like a cold place, don't need a cold place. And if you ain't mine, then we just waste time till a new day. I ain't trying to avoid things, but it's no one that says mothers. Avoid things. I ain't trying to resolve things, involve you, but you don't want to be sorry.
Flower bomb, let me guess your favorite fragrance, and you got that bomb. I'm trying that in nature, no disrespecting, baby. Just try and make you smile. Try to keep my spirits up, that's why I lays it down. Try to keep your spirits up, little vodka, whatever. Took it forever to get dressed, I acknowledge your effort, so I clap for her. She deserves an applause. Shawty working so hard, she deserves that baton. Shawty, wear your baton, racing through my mind like she heard that. I got that work, I heard that she been on strike. Care to tell, I read your mind, she been on them dollars first. Caramel, macchiatos, when Shawty get into work. I can be your boyfriend, be your nigga, or a friend with perks. I'm just trying to work that, they just trying to work your nerves. I'm just trying to read your mind, I'm just trying to feed you mine. I'm just trying to give you light, they just trying to leave